Where were the police during the Hour of Joy? The Hour of Joy was a literal massacre so big that thousands upon thousands of lives were lost. Not just from the humans that were killed, but the toys that were starved to death afterward due to a lack of food. But if all of this happened, then why didn't the police show up and try to stop it? I'm pretty sure a gun would be able to kill a monster as strong as Huggy Wuggy, so they could have done something at least. Well, we first have to go to the Hour of Joy's orchestrator, the Prototype. The Prototype always hated Playtime Co., and even more so the scientists who worked on the Bigger Bodies initiative. And this eventually led to him convincing the toys to participate in the Hour of Joy. But how could he have done this, and how did he do it so perfectly that no one could stop him? Well, we actually have a few tapes from the Hour of Joy that could give us some evidence as to what really happened. In the final tape in chapter 1, we hear a scientist describing the Prototype and telling us, the listener, to forge onwards in the name of science. He tells us that the Prototype has two qualities which could have led to the Hour of Joy: coordination and cooperation, and we see both of these in other incidents as well.
Final log. In relation, experiment 1006, the Prototype. Coordination and cooperation is evidently within his skill set, as well as the skill set of all other experiments of his type. Though still missing, today's events are no doubt in relation to him. His absence was a flaw in the scientific process, which should have under no circumstances been left unaccounted for. That's why I'm making this log, so that the same mistake won't be made twice. Any future experiments will need to be contained and disposed of in a secure location. I'm not worried about myself. One breakthrough and I'll be back. We must forge onwards in the name of science, whether those who are beneath us understand it or not. End of...
We see that the Prototype is very smart and can do things that outsmart even the employees watching over him. As in a chapter 2 tape, we hear of an event where he managed to take some things in his room, including an alarm clock, and made a literal laser pointer out of it, which disabled the camera, causing the employees to think that he wasn't there anymore. But the thing is, this wasn't the only time he was close to escaping, as there was one time that he actually did manage to escape. And although we don't know exactly when this was, we do know from the fact that Theodore drew a picture of the Prototype under his bed, and the scientist said that the Prototype was still missing in the chapter 1 tape. And this is most likely when he managed to convince all of the other toys to participate in the Hour of Joy. And with him saving Catnap's life earlier when he was still an orphan, Catnap could have also helped spread the word. But the thing is, the attack was so precise that it all had to have been planned for a reason. It was at exactly 11 a.m. on August 8th of 1995 when the toys tried to kill everybody in the factory. But why this time specifically? Well, it's possible that this was either the time when Playtime Co staff went to eat lunch, meaning more of the security would be on break, or it's possible that this was the exact time of a shift change, meaning that security wasn't ready for an attack on this kind of scale. But we also know from another tape with the Warden and Harley Sawyer that the attack wasn't just done by the Prototype, but someone from the inside, because when the Warden asks how it's possible that all the toys managed to escape at the same time, Harley tells him this.
How could this happen? There's fail-safes, security measures. It's impossible.
Personal agendas have long been the downfall of this company. Is it unreasonable to believe they were conspirators? Playtime is filled with vipers and backstabbers.
But without executive access, how could anyone even get through? Laith, Stella, Eddie, only the 4 of us have that kind of clearance.
Does any of that matter now? It's your life we have to protect.
which means that the prototype and this mystery person could have 100% guaranteed that police and security wouldn't be able to stop the attack. Because if you released every single toy in the prison all at once, I don't care how many guns you have, there is no gun that can shoot around in 360 degrees all at once. But the funny thing is, we managed to fend off all of these things with just our flare gun in chapter 4. So although that was plot convenience for us, the police would still not have a chance if they came in during the hour of joy. But another factor in the police not showing up is that the Playtime Co. factory was pretty far away from any other buildings or towns. As in a video uploaded to Mob's YouTube channel, which shows Huggy escaping from the factory, we see that the factory was pretty far away from everything, being in the top right corner of the map. And in the chapter 3 hallucination, when Catnap knocked off our gas mask, we see the roadway to get to the factory and how it's literally surrounded by acres and acres of forest. So if someone managed to call the police, they would have showed up in about an hour, which means everyone would probably be dead by then. And even if the police did show up, the toys could have just went limp like the toys in Toy Story, leading to the police not having a single clue as to what happened. And this might be the case because when we show up in chapter 1, although we don't see ourselves enter, we go through the main entrance. And since it was about 10 years after the incident initially happened, then the police would have stopped caring by that point and left the factory to be just another abandoned building. But another thing we have to take into account is the fact that Playtime was already good at hiding what they were doing from the police, as the orphans were kept in a giant dome in a literal cave where nobody would be able to get down there without going down an extremely long cable car first. And they were especially hiding the labs, which is the highest clearance place in the entire factory, where we had to literally get blown up in order to even make it down there. And because what they were doing was immoral and only the higher ups in Playtime Co. knew what was actually going on, then they would have had tactics and strategies in order to make sure that the police would never figure out what they were doing, which the prototype could have used his advantage and learned from what they were doing to make sure that the hour of joy never reached the public ear. And it seems to be that the prototype even talked to Poppy about something similar, because in the untitled tape, Poppy shows her frustration with the prototype, but admits that he was right, as the prototype told her something along the lines of them needing to stay in the factory, otherwise they might get experimented on again.
Prototype says we can't leave. Not now, not ever. I hate him. I hate him, and I hate this place, and I hate that he's... Right. He explained everything, and he's right. We can't leave. It's too risky. What they did to us, we can't ever let it happen to us or anyone ever again.
But because the prototype has control over the factory, he can ensure that the experiments won't happen again. But as we know from the tape named Time, it seems that he's doing his own form of experimentation, possibly to turn the toys back into real humans.
But you have no staff, virtually no test subjects. It's hardly ideal conditions. Even when this place was fully operational, we were beating our heads against this. You can't expect to do it on your own so quickly. The situation necessitates it be done quickly. I can only be reactive up here. Then of what use are you? You know I'm still your best shot at cracking that secret. If I weren't, you would have already killed me.
So overall, it seems that the prototype's knowledge combined with the employee that helped them, they were able to do it so fast that the police and security weren't able to stop them, and they were able to continue living on in the factory until this very day. But what do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments. Thanks for watching, subscribe, and click on this video right here.